First episode jitters out of the way. Let's get it going. Episode 2. Welcome to the Palmetto Playbook podcast.
Talking about sports, sitting on a couch, doesn't get much better than this.
Right?
Yeah.
I get paid to do this.
It's crazy.
But that's actually like the best part about today's episode. I know we kind of talked about our sports journeys, but today we get to talk about other people's sports journeys. And there are a lot to talk about since the last time we sat here.
Yeah, it seems like it's just like a never-ending cycle this year. There's been like coaching changes. There's the Olympics. It's I don't know. Normally July and August are pretty slow, but I don't know if it's too knowing this year that football season's really going to be right here.
And it's really ramping up. SEC just had their media day, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
We got EA Sports, college
Coming out with the new
football,
video
25.
game.
I mean, everyone's so hyped.
That was like perfect timing with the college football too, because it was like, hey, everybody's talking about it, and then it was like SEC Media Day, Sunbelt Media Days are coming up soon, so it's kind of like that cycle is coming. And during the SEC ones, I heard Nick Saban talk about like for him as a coach, maybe the best ever to do it, was like that's the day when it's like, hey, practice is out of the way. Like we really, he's like when you see the other coaches, it kind of lit the fire in him, and that was interesting to hear that it's like clock's ticking now. Like college football is going to be here soon.
When you talk about football season starting up and all that stuff, you don't realize that you talk about summer. August 1st hits and you're already in sports mode. Like you don't even get like July is really the only month because June, I guess summer technically starts at the end of June. So you really only have July, and that month goes in the blink of an eye. You have like the 4th of July, so for the first like week or so, everybody's on holidays or doing something. And then if you're my age, you have a wedding every weekend and you don't have time to just be alone. And all of a sudden August comes around, hits you in the face, and it's football season.
Yeah.
So, but we do have the PD Jamboree, I kind of mentioned it, August 16th. And that's now, at the time of recording, less than a month away.
Yeah, coming quick.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really one of the big things. We have another event coming up on Friday where we're going to get to preview a lot of our local high school teams, but I think the jamborees and those things, that's really kind of the week where obviously it gets going, and then you have week 0 and we're off to the races. But I mean, we want to talk about that PD Jamboree a little bit. That's going to be a good one because last year was the first year they did it, right, as the Jamboree of Champions. We got, for local schools, I'll just name them. We have West Florence, Lakeview, Darlington, Latta, Hartsville, Cheraw, and Dillon, all playing each other, or like playing in different matchups. So that is just going to be, that's, as a fan, if I lived around that area, if you're out in the PD, I mean, that's probably one of the best opportunities to go out. I mean, you're getting 5-1. You'd have to stay for hours. It starts at 5:30. The last game is at 9:30. But usually on Friday nights, you only
What else are you going to do on a Friday night?
Yeah, you only get one game though. This you're getting like 5-1. They're going to be quick scrimmages. They're in and out in an hour usually. But if you want to go see a lot of football, that's like a really good way to kind of get you excited for the year.
I think Hartsville and Dillon are also in this list. If you get a chance, I know, Allison, you want to shoot football this season.
Excited.
It is a drive, but if you get a chance, you got to go to Hartsville and you got to go to Dillon. I love going to Dillon. I think they have one of the best atmospheres to watch a high school football game. Their fans always come out. The band is loud. At this point, I feel like I know every song that the band is going to play. Like when they hit the music, it's a bom, 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 bom. Boom, 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 boom,
and then copyrighted now for that.
Oh, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they got fireworks shooting
That was better
off.
than the national anthem.
It's
yeah.
Oh, all right. Everything's better than that.
But I mean, it's just so fun to see these fans get into it. You know, there's an older lady who's always on the sideline, especially she's usually walking with the cheerleaders, but she is like totally invested with this team. I need to actually introduce.
It's funny how some fans stick out too. Like the Lakeview Gator guy, he's one of my favorite people I see at games. It's like I feel like we like always put him in the highlights, but it's just so entertaining.
If he's there, right, and he's entertaining.
And that's too. Like I've always, it was like one of those things I didn't realize for years. Fan means fanatic. Like it's like we're all fanatics of sports, and I never even like kind of. Cause we just talk about fans so much that just kind of went over my head. But I mean, when you are a fanatic of your team, it's like that's what it's all about.
I'm still learning football. I'm still learning college football. You guys are talking, and I'm like, yep, I've learned this. Okay, yeah, I've learned this. Okay, I've learned this. And you guys just said a whole bunch of things. I'm like, yep, I'm making mental notes. But Coastal Carolina, you were talking about Tim Beck and them and the Sun Belt Conference football is having their own media day coming up next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be coming up Tuesday. The Sun Belt just announced that a couple days ago. That was pretty interesting. I mean, we knew what day it was going to be, but we didn't know what times everyone was going to be talking. Central time too for everybody. Guys, I know that's going to throw people off for a loop. You know, you see, Coastal's talking at 1:30, 2:30 here. But then Tim, obviously it'll be Tim Beck, all the head coaches, and they kind of announced 2 players for each school that's going to go. And Shane Bruce was one of them. He's a redshirt senior. I know I interviewed him a couple times last year. So it'll be cool just to see, like you mentioned before, that first year with coaches. I think you're kind of like anyone who started a new job. That first year, you're kind of just getting the flow of things. Second year, like, you have the muscle memory where your office is. It's like the little things that, like, you don't have to think about. So they went to New Orleans for media day last year. They know what this plane ride's like. Like, everything's now, at least you've done it once before. So I'm really excited to see what they have to say, because last year it was kind of just like, Tim Beck, what's going to happen? Now this year it's like, hey, here's our plan. What I mean? So I'm interested to see what because the Sun Belt looked so dang good last year.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for our first taste at. I talked to Coach at their spring practices, but now that they know what the team looks like, and it's going to get rolling on Tuesday.
And just thinking about the Sun Belt, I mean, they've done a really nice job piecing this conference together and making it competitive. And I think there's going to be a lot of really cool opportunities for any team in the Sun Belt to kind of show off of what they're able to do. It's like, I know the MAC, they kind of created the MACtion night, where I think they were playing on Tuesday nights or some Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and it seemed weird, but no other college teams were playing.
Were on ESPN,
so they were on ESPN on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and it was fun, and hopefully the Sun Belt can find ways to continue to
Get the
show itself
D-Gens
off.
gambling on it on Tuesdays because there's nothing else going on.
The D-Gen.
Put football on any day of the week, I'll watch.
Yeah, I think that was
Well, there's other sports out there. CCU has talked about a couple of schedule releases lately.
Yep.
Volleyball, defending champs. I don't know how you gamble on volleyball. If you can bring a D-Gen on the show to tell me about it, I'll listen.
We'll see if there's Olympic lines for volleyball. I'll give us an update.
But they are now starting their season, or they will be starting their season September 1st, defending their Sun Belt championship against, the first game of the season is against UCLA. But those were some really good games to watch last season, and I know I went with you a couple times to watch them.
Yeah, they were really good. I mean, Jasmine Hervé is coming off a Freshman Player of the Year award. They had a couple other people. I mean, they were phenomenal. They set their own record. It was like 12 or 13 or 15 straight matches in a row they won. They were kicking butt in the Sun Belt, and I think Coastal, that might be one of the things now. We have like Chance Miller and things. It's because I asked that question, how do we get the other sports up to the football and baseball? Football and baseball are there. They're like on the national level at least.
Yeah.
People know who but like, how do we get volleyball and basketball and like all these other soccer up there? And I think it's coming. I think we could.
I think I jinxed it. I remember last year I was shadowing you. We were at, I think it was the 15-game streak, and we were at the game that they lost.
Was that? Oh, really?
Oh no, that was me. I feel really bad. And then they started winning again.
It's her fault. She's
It's
not
my
allowed
fault.
to
Sorry, guys.
Coastal volleyball games anymore.
I will not attend Coastal volleyball games, at least while they're not on like a really long historic streak.
Yeah.
But no, they're fantastic to watch. Volleyball is one of the sports, especially in college, that like I would always go to. It's just so interesting, and those players. I mean, we didn't have a men's volleyball team. We had a women's at UND. So even coming to other like colleges and seeing men's volleyball is insane. I'm actually excited that for the Olympics as well.
Yeah, volleyball's, I think. Beach volleyball is huge in the Olympics, but I think the team volleyball is getting bigger too. I don't know if it's because the USA just wasn't good, and so it wasn't popular here, but now USA is getting good at men's and women's team volleyball too. And you watch the men's indoor volley, those spikes are insane.
Well,
it's like, you can't even see the ball sometimes.
Yeah.
I want one of those like pitch radar things,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like, I want to see how fast the thing's coming at this guy's face.
Yeah, that.
But watching a
one of
good
those-
run.
It's one of those sports that I think you need to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know personally in my high school, we did not have a guys volleyball team.
Yeah.
We had girls.
common.
It's very common.
Yeah.
But there were some guys out there that were advocating, and I think our athletic director at the time said, if you can get enough people together, we'll look into it. And I think it's starting to grow more and more, and you're starting to get more interest in the sport. You know, everyone's talking about, you know, the United States men's soccer team, and why aren't we winning? Why aren't we competing? Well, it's not the top sport, you know? I mean, if you ask most kids, what do you want to play? It's most likely going to be football, it's going to be baseball, it's going to be basketball. And that's where, but I mean, you go overseas, what sport do you want to play? You go, you know, even to South America, you go to any other country, what sport do you want to play? I'd say 95% are going to choose soccer in some way or shape or form. And maybe Canada, they'll choose hockey over soccer.
Absolutely. We're choosing hockey every time.
That's
Almost every other country, they're choosing soccer. So, you know, if you give the opportunity that's out there, and, you know, if we can grow.
Because it's not lack of athletes. It's,
Well, and soccer is one of the more affordable sports out there, right? Like you mentioned football, you mentioned hockey. Those are some really expensive sports, especially when you talk about equipment, travel teams. Soccer, it's minimal equipment and a ball.
But I mean, and if you want to continue to build a program, I mean, I was just looking at CCU's volleyball schedule. They're playing Georgia Tech and Tennessee, who both finished in the top 15 last season. And so I was even looking at CCU. I mean, they were ranked in the top 50 by the end of the season. So, I mean, if you want to continue to build a program, you got to bring in those top teams. So, I mean, they're going to be playing Georgia Tech right after they play UCLA. And then Tennessee, I believe, is actually coming to Conway to play. So you're going to be testing yourselves.
Which is
against
good.
The best, and you want to. I mean, and if you lose,
because the men's and women's soccer teams did that last year, and it almost, I think I heard some fans saying, you know, it kind of backfired because they had too many losses, but like they were playing Duke and like all these teams in the top 5 in the country. It's like, all right, well, you lose 2-1 to Duke, who's ranked number 2 in the country. It's like, it's kind of like it's kind of like an ego booster. I mean, of course you lost, and no one wants to lose, but if you're testing yourself against top 5 opponents like several times in a year, that's.
And you have to give yourself that opportunity. I know how long it's been since App State played Michigan, you know, in the Big House.
Oh, right.
No one gave them a chance. And App State, I mean,
you
play to win the game. If you want to go out, you go out there, you play the game.
You pay us to beat you.
Yeah,
I love those buy games, man.
Exactly. You know, you get paid $1 million to go to someone's, you know, Kent State was always, you know, one of those schools that Ohio State would you know, pay. We'd go out there. I think they played my junior or senior year of college. We went out and Ohio State beat us 66-0, and you know, it's just one of those. I think Kent State is the second worst team to start a dynasty with in the new EA Sports game.
Really?
Yeah, there's like they have all the rankings of like the hardest teams to turn around, and I believe Kent State is the second.
Almost last.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean. You know,
if you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do. And then kudos to the athletic director and the athletic department, and the coaches. And then, you know, for going out there and putting your team against the best. So I mean, we'll see what they can win, and even just bringing in a big name like Tennessee to Conway. And we even talk about football. I mean, you're bringing a big name school like Virginia. To Conway. That's awesome. You know, it's not every day you can get those other teams to come out and play you.
Right.
So.
This is a complete side note from you were just talking about bringing the teams in. Do you think it's an advantage that CCU plays on teal turf every day, that when people come in, like, your eyes must hurt? Like, because you're used to, like, I would say turf is like pretty dark green, and then you come in and you're staring at this like it almost feels like a neon teal.
I think when you're out there, it's enough. It looks more like grass. It's got
like
kind
when
of
you're
a
low enough to it, you mean?
Yeah, once you're out there. I mean, even watching a game. I mean, if you want to talk about a stadium that will mess with your eyes, I think it's Eastern Michigan. They have the gray turf, like their turf.
Like shade of gray. Describe.
It's gray. It's black and white. Like the yards. It like alternates between dark gray, light gray, dark gray, light gray. The E in the middle is green, and I believe their end zone's green. So when you're watching it, you feel like, wait, is my TV broken? Like that messes you up. I think Boise State will mess you up with. I mean, and they're the original with.
I'm trying to think if it was a different sport, like where you have to aim like something behind a backboard in basketball,
maybe.
I think, but football, I don't think it messes.
What's that,
It definitely messes with like cameras, and it's
Yeah.
hard to get that. But
Yeah, I mean, when you're watching it, I don't think it messes with you that much. I don't even really notice that. I mean, you notice it's teal or
Right.
something's off, but I think there's a stadium out there, I forget who it is, but there's red turf. So there's definitely more unique ones
Yeah.
that are out there. I
would
don't
say
know
the
if it's quite the
fans
advantage. Yeah.
do more than anything.
I mean, of
If we
course,
want-
anybody
I'm just trying to call out. We need you to be rowdy out there.
You guys need to
'cause
get out there.
That's the big. I mean, that's why college football is so special. Is
Yeah.
the fans that.
Yeah.
Tell you, the court that
pose
made
the
your eyes hurt.
distractions, yeah.
The court that made my eyes hurt was the NBA in-season tournament that they did this year.
Oh.
Those courts that they picked, those were some bright colors. Those would make your eyes hurt.
I'm trying to think. There's another team. I think it's in the NBA. Is it Portland? Not Portland. They have little trees on their.
Oh, that's Oregon, but it's college basketball.
Oh, college
Yeah.
basketball. Okay, so I was right. It was.
Okay,
It's the
yeah.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, no.
That hurts
Oregon,
my eyes to
Oregon
watch.
has a very, that will mess with your eyes, especially for college basketball.
And like you said, like basketball specific, right? Because you have to look, like you have to pay attention to where you are on the court.
Yeah.
So that'll mess you up.
That'd be
but-
something cool that CCU should look into for the basketball court.
Yeah, the
Make
teal.
everything teal. Somehow turn the grass out
Teal walls.
over at the baseball stadium, the baseball field. Make the outfield teal.
Oh my God!
That'd be
Wait,
fun.
it's not. The stadium's not
grass.
turf. It's grass. Yeah,
It's
okay.
grass.
Then you'd have to have somebody there just like spray painting it every day.
Make it happen.
Oh gosh, have somebody mowing the lawn and somebody right behind him spray painting
Yeah, let's do it for one game. That'd be fun.
for one game.
Yeah,
And then they'd want
at
it
least.
all the games
Yeah. Make
if
at
it
least
worked for
one.
them as a benefit.
Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom.
That's funny. We do have more things on tap, I guess, not for this year, but for next year, but we were really excited about it. Last week was announced the dates for the Myrtle Beach Classic. Second year. This year was amazing. It was the first time that I actually got to be out of the office doing something. We were doing live blogging and taking photos and stuff. And I'll say I took a photo of a like a tea
Little T marker.
tea marker, the
Oh, the little beach.
the beach
bucket,
thank you, the
yeah.
beach, the sand buckets, and we used it a lot. So if they sent me out, I've at least successfully done one thing. I've
were
taken a
heavier.
really good photo.
They were heavier than they appeared.
They were.
I wanted to take one really bad, just like have it to sit on my desk, or we could have sat.
Yeah,
something
exactly, right here.
But man, they snatched those suckers up like the second to last group was going through because I think they knew people wanted them.
It's like,
But-
no, the each one had its own handler. And I
Yeah.
remember Tegan and I had actually run into one of the handlers, and I was like, can I hold this, please? And he's like, he kind of looked at me like, does she look like she's gonna run away with it?
Run away, yeah.
Can I beat her in a race? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And so that's my memory from the Myrtle Beach Classic this year, was holding the little.
Right. That's why I wore my shirt today too, because at least we were going to mention it. I was like, I know it's going to be a year before I get to wear this again. So
No. They had some really cool merch though, and throughout the weekend, merch sold out like immediately. They had like, I don't want to call it like emergency orders, but like they had like orders that were coming in overnight just to restock for the next day. People loved it.
this is kind of the wrap too, though, of golf season. Really, I mean, you get like the 4 majors every year. The Open's going to start this week. By the time this podcast comes out, it'll already have been started. But I kind of wanted to give my 4. I got like 4 guys you should watch. I think Scottie Scheffler obviously is hard to bet against. Bryson just won the U.S. Open here in the Carolinas a couple weeks ago. The Scottish Open was just last week, and Robert McIntyre, who people might remember had the lead after, I think, was it day 2 or day 1?
It was, yeah,
I think
day
day 1 or I think
Day
2
1
maybe.
from Tegan out in the boonies.
So he went on to win the Scottish Open, which is crazy that someone, because we talked about it a lot, you're getting those players like 150 down at the Myrtle Beach Classic. So for him to go out and win one of the big tournaments was awesome. That it's like one of those people we got to see close up. But this week at the Open, I really like Xander Schauffele. Rory, you always got to watch when they're across the pond because he's from over there. Always kind of has that advantage. And then Tony Finau is one of my favorites. I think Finau's been playing really, really well lately.
Yeah,
so.
it's interesting golf. Now that Tiger isn't.
He's playing
Tiger
again too.
Used to be, and he'll still be playing. And I love the soundbite that he had. Someone was calling him out because
I saw
since
this,
he
yes.
is has so many wins,
win.
he is exempt to play. He doesn't have to necessarily qualify,
Right.
which, I mean, he's already won how many wins in his entire
He's won
career.
everything
He's
multiple
done everything.
times.
Think about
Yeah.
He's exempt.
Until he's
and
60. I
Until
read
he's
that.
60, yeah, and then he can go and join the senior tour. But he was like, they were calling him out, like, oh, should you really be playing in this? And he's like, well, the guy who's calling me out
Hasn't won.
hasn't even won, so he doesn't even have the option. So,
Yeah,
you
he
know,
can't
they
be in
stick
my
to-
shoes. I get this
Yeah.
option.
And I mean, Tiger's such a draw. And now there's the PGA is actually just talking about making an exemption for him where he can't miss the cut. So he would actually automatically
Well, I was just
go.
going to
He
say,
would play all 4 days despite how far
I got to
back
go to
he
the
is.
U.S. Open in North Carolina, and we wanted Tiger to make the cut. So just because like the following, it just adds that extra. I mean, it was still we went Saturday, so you don't no, yeah, because Sunday you get the excitement of the winner, but like Saturday, if you have Tiger in the hunt on Saturday, like it's just a.
So it's
extra
interesting
oomph.
to sit there and think, you know. But I mean, what he's done, I mean, I think there's that one exception to the rule.
I
and
don't mind it
think-
because it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
So who cares? If it was a team sport and you're like, oh, let's put so and so in right field for forever, you're kind of hurting.
Yeah.
But it's like.
He's not taking. Well, I know. I guess he is taking somebody's spot, but he's
No,
not
he
taking.
wouldn't. He
just-
wouldn't.
yeah, you
It
just
would
add it
still
on the
be. It would
bottom.
still
Oh,
be
it would
the
just be
cut.
like the
Yeah,
additional
it would
one
still
is
be
what
the
they're saying?
exact cut,
Oh.
and then he would. They
And so it'd take
would
10 more
continue on.
minutes for one
Yeah.
extra person on a tee
Yeah.
box. Like,
But then you sit there and you kind of wonder. It's like, okay, who else would you want to see? Would you put like a Phil Mickelson on
Right,
that
and
list?
then-
I
yeah,
mean,
I
he's
guess.
kind of
Where
burned
do you
his
put the
bridge
line?
going to live.
because you put the line at Tiger, there's no one else is
Yeah.
ever gonna
Right, and
get
so
it again.
like I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, if you're gonna add 5, if you could add 5 golfers, you know, to always make the cut, you know, I would say
Ricky Fowler.
Tiger,
Fowler.
Phil. Right now, I mean, Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty.
You know, he's always someone that you're interested in.
People are drawn to him now because of the chaos that ensued.
I would
during-
say the general public that didn't know about golf.
Yeah,
if
if they
you were a
didn't-
golf fan, you've known about Scotty
Yes.
long enough. But yeah,
I say
definitely.
household names like Jordan Spieth,
Yeah,
Bryson.
and it's interesting, I mean, to take that step back and really appreciate what Tiger did and what Scotty's kind of doing because, I mean,
Spieth did it for a year and became a
he's-
superstar.
yeah, Spieth
Spieth's
won
doing
a
it now
few.
for a year.
And, I mean,
Tiger
what
did
has
it
he
for like
done?
11 years.
but I mean, and we
crazy.
just talked about Rory, you know, at the last, he hasn't won in 10 years. So,
Really still like when you see that's one of those names that I'll always associate with golf. Like I couldn't tell you what he's won when he's won, but I know that he's a golfer, and like I always know that I'm interested in watching him play when it comes down to the last couple days.
yeah, so to sit there and really take that step back and appreciate what Tiger did in the amount of time that he did and that magical Masters run that he had just a few years ago. You know,
That was
sit there, are
crazy.
we ever going to get something like that again? I don't know. I don't think so. But, you know, just to have that name, Tiger Woods, making
the
the
fact
cut.
they
and-
did it again once already was insane.
Yeah,
That was-
yeah, and they talk about that, the roar of the crowd when Tiger, you know, hits the green or makes a putt. It's just completely different than anyone else, even if you're watching the leader and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Open Championship's always a great.
yeah, it's
It's kind of
it has that
the wrap
extra
up.
ancient like history to
Yeah.
it.
Well, everyone's overseas. They're wearing sweaters. It kind of gets you ready in the mood for fall,
Yeah.
you know, because we're all over here sweating every time you
Cooking.
walk outside. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
can't
Glasses
wait to
fog.
just sit back and sip on my tea, and enjoy some good old golf back where the old game came
They
out.
need to make them play like wooden sticks.
Oh,
Get 'em
absolutely.
back in
God.
the-
Yeah.
But we mentioned that the whole thing that started this conversation is that the dates were announced, and
There we go.
sorry to mothers everywhere. It is on Mother's Day weekend again, May 8th through May 11th next year. I actually remember when we were there was one of the homes that was along the golf course that had a really big sign that said, "Wish your mom a happy Mother's Day," or something along those lines, just to remind people, hey guys, there's a tournament going on, but it's still
bring 'em.
Mother's Day weekend.
Bring them. I mean, it was a great opportunity to get out there, and
It was.
it's a fun, I mean, get to enjoy
You're right on the
being
water,
outside, you're
outside.
on the water.
We were there. I went as a spectator on Sunday. I saw you there, still working, and it was nice. It was nice to be a spectator and just because like I had worked throughout the week, and so like with Sunday, obviously you see the winner, you see like obviously whoever's left over, like the ones who made the cut, but the crowds are insane. Like people were ready for it. And it was an older crowd too, but I think I did see a lot of people who I would say are like young professional age that are getting into it. I learned so much about golf during the Myrtle Beach Classic because, I mean, that was all we lived and breathed for how long before I came around.
Yeah.
So May 8th through 11th, mark it on your calendars.
Book it.
Book it, because it was a great event last year. It's going to be another amazing event this year. I can't wait.
Speaking of things to book, Buddy Bailey booked his spot, third all time on the
segue.
minor league baseball list. Actually crazy. 2,931, do I have that right?
2,391 wins.
Jumbled two numbers. But just an incredible milestone. You mentioned Cliff Ellis earlier in the show. We got that brief time where he was the active winningest coach in all time. Now we have the third active winningest in minor league baseball history. That, when I saw that, I thought it was a typo. I was like, minor league baseball's been around for, and there's a lot of, there's like four different, there's AA, AAA, like there's a lot of minor league baseball teams. So for Buddy Bailey to be third all time, that is incredible. And actually just today, they announced that they're going to give away to the first 1,000 fans on August 31st a Buddy Bailey bobblehead, and it actually has an active wins counter on it that you can
you can scroll on?
flip on it.
That's actually pretty cool.
I'm going to try to fight all of you to be one of the first 1,000 people of that game, because that's going to be really cool. And a Gary Gilmore bobblehead.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
And he's been awesome for the Myrtle Beach community. Like, he's had a few stints as the Pelicans manager. And he hasn't been here consecutively. Like, he's gone on to a few times, and they brought him back and things like that. So he's one of those managers that is beloved, knows how to develop these young players, and just kind of also going off that, we just had the MLB draft, which that's always interesting because with the major league, there are 20 rounds. There's 20 rounds when it comes to the MLB draft.
Well, that's kind of what I meant too, with like how many minor league teams there are.
Because there's 4 levels when it comes to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And the Pelicans, I believe, are the lowest of the 4 that you can get sent to. And we once were the affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Now it's the Chicago Cubs. But it's cool to see different players that have come through this organization, this club.
There were, I forget what the numbers, there were a lot in the All-Star game the other day.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, too.
I want to say it was like double digits. Ex-Pelicans players were, or former Pelicans players were in.
Have some type of way that you're crossing.
Yeah.
And so, even, I think I saw in the 18th or 19th round, Big Papi, his son, recently got drafted. And so it's cool to see. We had Coastal Carolina players. We had a kid from St. James, kid from Myrtle Beach, who was over at Clemson.
Austin Gorder, he was a reliever, knocked Coastal out of the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
He was a Myrtle Beach pitcher.
Yeah.
And then Derek Bender from Coastal was the St. James kid you mentioned. Those are, I think Derek Bender was the highest St. James kid ever drafted. He was 6th round off the top of my head. They actually had a watch party at Hanley's, so that was really cool. Just to, you see these local kids getting in the. We have a couple that but it's.
Twins picked them.
It's hard,
right? Yeah.
One was a Twins,
and then the kid out of Myrtle Beach was Angels.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So that's cool to see these baseball journeys.
The MLB draft doesn't have that like NFL draft. I think because of how many rounds and stuff. It's
NFL,
hard to sit there all day and watch. 9 rounds go on a day. They did 11 through 20 on the last day, so it's hard to. But
I think also with the MLB draft is.
But for them, it's like that's what you train your whole life for.
And you spend, you get drafted by a team, but you spend a lot of time in their farm organization, and I think that's with 20 rounds of players, you have a lot of players to put places.
Yeah, absolutely, and you don't know what's going to happen because it's wild to sit there. Just this time last year. Paul Skeens goes #1 overall, and a year later, because the draft and the All-Star game line up, he's starting the All-Star game in NL starting pitchers. So, it's crazy just to sit there and think, who's the next person going to be, and it's not always, first round picks aren't always going to be, up there.
And that Paul thing is crazy because that is like. Because the Orioles have like 3 of those guys on their team right now, and like they're taking turns being really good. But I mean, be the best pitcher in the world, arguably, right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I picked him up on my
Dude, that's-
fantasy baseball team
Oh,
late
really?
in the draft. Had to hold on to him for a few weeks where he was not putting up any points, but I was like, trusting this guy, and he's been killing
That's
it.
wild.
This was the first year I've ever participated in a fantasy baseball league.
It's fun.
I'll tell you, I learned nothing.
You've learned nothing.
I learned baseball-wise, I've learned baseball things, but like how to play in a draft or in a fantasy league for baseball, I learned nothing. I did not trade a single player. I didn't move anybody. I didn't even draft. It was like an auto draft or something, and I'm just.
That was your first mistake.
Well, I didn't. I mean, it's not like I set it up. It was like the league was auto draft set, and so.
Who's your league
She's
manager?
playing against computers.
Your
No,
league,
no,
your
no,
league
no, it
manager
was-
should be fired.
No, his name is Matt Eatson. He's a friend from college, and he's like, "Do you want to participate in this? We're all kind of new to this, so we're learning." So he just I think it was just set it to auto because everyone was like new,
Yeah.
and it was a
Ian's
mistake
baffled right
because I learned nothing.
Hey, do you want to do a fantasy
don't
fantasy
get to
football
pick
team?
your
You don't get to
players.
pick any of your players, but
Takes the
and then we're not
fantasy
and then
part
we're not gonna
It was
draft
truly
or
like I was
trade.
like, I named my team after Vladimir Guerrero. And I didn't even get to pick him. I didn't even get the option to pick him. I didn't even get the option to trade for him. I was just,
At least you got to pick the name, I guess.
yeah, that's it. That's the only thing I picked in that whole thing was the name.
Well, if you actually do fantasy baseball correct, Zach Wilcox, who used to work here,
Yeah.
he is a big baseball fan, and he got us into it. And as a guy who just kind of got out of baseball, just because there's so many teams and players, and we talked to the minors, you get to reassociate yourself with some of these players because you're constantly changing your roster and things like that. So it's kind of fun. It got me back into the game because now I know names that I typically wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
It does help.
that,
It makes it much better.
It's a lot more fun. and
I've done every fantasy league of every sport once, and like those ones are hard though. The daily sports are hard, like basketball, baseball. Football's nice because it's like
Once a week.
Tuesday through Thursday. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But the
baseball's definitely the hardest.
weekly
You
ones
gotta-
are hard. They're hard.
Oh, there's like
gotta be on it.
162 games you got, or right, 162?
Yeah.
162 games you got to
You
figure
got to
out.
do your pitching rotation. You got to get your batting order. You got to, waivers are a big thing. Making sure the IL is a big thing.
I didn't even know how I was getting or losing points. It was just not
We're gonna have
exciting.
to have a
Goal unit
conversation.
basket.
like I understand, let's be very clear, I understand how to play baseball. I've watched baseball for many years of my life. But when it came to fantasy baseball, I have never been so much like a fish out of water than I was in that.
Yeah.
And like you said, I've done for hockey, I've done for football, I've done for basketball, I've done all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Baseball, I would not do again. Unless somebody was there, like if Zach Wilcox wants to take me under his arm and be like, hey.
You actually I wouldn't even count this as your first fantasy experience.
I think it's still going, so I mean, I could pull out my phone, but I don't know what's going on with it. My entire
I'm still
team.
baffled by this story.
I'm so sorry. And I feel like I've just called Matt out for being a terrible, what do you call him?
General manager?
General manager.
Owner or whatever, commissioner.
Commissioner is the word I was looking
yeah,
for.
yeah.
But it was,
I was looking ahead. That was.
he's like, no, I'll get it figured out.
Rolling
Fantasy-
along. We got it.
Yeah, but we do have other things to talk about today, and one of the big things is the ESPYs were last week. But before we jump into the ESPYs, we also have to congratulate some other players for different awards. So over at Francis Marion University, we talked about Lauren Taylor early there this year during her season. She set an all NCAA record, all division record for most rebounds in a single game, and that was 44 rebounds. Fast forward to the end of the season, awards, she's now named the Conference Carolinas Player of the Year.
That's awesome.
So congratulations.
Yeah, she got some national honors. She got the league female athlete of the year.
Yeah.
Those are just, when those kinds of things happen, you got to stop and kind of just appreciate that. Because even when it's on the D2 level, it's impressive to be the best in your sport at your level. That's, doesn't get better than that.
FMU, that's not their only star basketball player. Pearl Moore is actually the all-time leading points scorer in all of the different divisions when it comes to women's basketball. Everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
So Caitlin has the Division I overall record. both for both men's and women's. But Pearl Moore, that's pretty awesome to have, not just, the all-time leader in rebounds. I mean, she had, 43? 44 in one game. First off, good Lord, how many shots were we missing? But my God, put a body on that.
Yeah, I'm saying even if there's like 20-minute halves, that's like, or 10-minute quarters, that's
wild. That's Wilt Chamberlain numbers right there. I mean, it's just
nuts.
wild. So shout out to her, and glad that she's getting the recognition that she deserves.
Absolutely. And I mean, talking recognition, talking about ESPYs, we had South Carolina Gamecocks just all over.
Almost
you.
a sweep, man.
Just
They
complete.
brought out the broom.
I mean, you have a 38-0 year, you're bound to win.
But still,
I
will
think
say,
they were
watching
gonna.
the ESPYs, the women's basketball teams it's typically, I feel like it typically comes off to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or the NBA Finals.
Well, because the best team award came down, and they started listening to teams, and I kind of forgot everything that had happened this year.
Yeah.
And I was like,
been a long year.
I was like, oh my, because I knew South Carolina was in it, so I was watching, and I'm like, oh my, they have to go against the Chiefs. They have to go against like all of these great teams this year, and I was just like, and then they won the award, and I was like, well, I'm glad they got, because the undefeated, like all of them were champions. So it's like you're kind of just picking your favorite sport. So I assume the NFL is going to win. Kind of, I think that's what you were trying to get to. And so for the undefeated team because that doesn't happen every year.
Like, that's
The
pretty
Chiefs
awesome.
have
Undefeated
Taylor Swift.
champion.
They can have the Gamecocks can have the ESPYs.
Yeah.
Undefeated champion is like, that's next level.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and then you also have Dawn Staley winning the award for perseverance.
Jimmy V Award for Perseverance, which was an interesting award because typically, Craig Sager has won it in the past, Stuart Scott. It typically goes to someone who's battling cancer or something like that.
She said that in her speech.
And I really appreciated her saying what she did, but I mean, she had an amazing story, talking about one of her assistant coaches battled cancer for 10 years, and she went to every single appointment with her and was there by her side. Then her sister was diagnosed with cancer, and she's been there by her side. And
she got to be there with her.
Yeah.
The assistant coach passed away, but
and just being the opportunity she's gotten to meet she met some children who are dealing with pediatric cancer, and she had some of the necklaces that this little girl had made, and
she's worn them for all those games.
I was gonna say I wear this Jimmy V Foundation bracelet every day and it was the Jimmy V award. So because it's one of those things that if your family hasn't dealt with cancer, by a tree. I think there's not I think they've done the statistics, like someone who's battled cancer, so it's something that affects all of us. So that one hits home for me. And I've lost a lot of grandparents, like almost all of them, and like family members to it. So it's one of those things that hits close to home for everybody.
So it was really cool just seeing her, accept the award, but she really said this award is for, those people that are out there, battling every single day, and but at the same time, I mean, she's awesome. If you ever had the chance to meet her, talk to her, I mean, she is feisty, she is fast. Someone who went to Virginia, and there was a lot of talks of if that Virginia job ever came open, could South Carolina keep her? And I think she's grown. I think she is a Gamecock. This is a organization that bet on her and gave her that opportunity, and she's beloved in Columbia and all across the state right now. So kudos to her.
I got to go to those SEC tournament 2 years ago, and she's one of those people that gives off usually it's like I don't know, you get that aura of I don't know what it is but she gives off that
she just has a swagger about her.
Yeah,
too. I love the way she dresses.
Bothered.
It's crazy.
She just has a vibe on the sideline, and you talk about all the time. They talk about who's going to be the first female to coach a men's team, whether that's on the college side or even the NBA. And I think a lot of people talk about Becky Hammon over with the Las Vegas Aces right now, and Dawn Staley comes up. There was talks that she was considered for several NBA openings, or at least considered, which is pretty awesome.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah. We'll see if it ever happens in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I hope it does. I think it can, because
that'd be really cool to see, honestly.
But then that would mean she have to leave South Carolina. We don't
want to see that, but
you can't see anybody replacing her in South Carolina.
Maybe the Charlotte Hornets.
they need some
help. Keep her around. We really want to keep talking about her, though. And then you have other alum for the Gamecocks, also in the ESPYs, taking home Best Athlete in Women's Sports. I always butcher her name, Asia Wilson?
Asia Wilson,
Asia
yeah.
Wilson? So it's just crazy. Gamecocks had a
best
great
team, best athlete, and a coach that
Winning
is helping
award.
people fight cancer.
Yeah, you really don't
Good
get
year
any
to be a
better than
Gamecock
that.
fan. My goodness, like wow.
Oh gosh, but yeah, I mean, those are some of the awards that we had for this week's episode, and I think it's awesome that to see that, to be able to have a podcast to be able to discuss those things is great, and congratulations to all those women. But kind of going on the opposite side of the scale, Euro Cup, you've got Copa America Cup, both wrapped. We got winners, we're all happy, but a lot of people aren't happy with how Copa America Cup went, how it ended, a lot of chaos from fans.
The World Cup, if you think this was crazy, those fans are going to be, I mean, like you were saying, 99% of the world. Imagine the Super Bowl, but every day. These fans are going to be nuts for the World Cup. I don't think we know what's coming. And
It's a good preparation.
Yeah, this should.
For sure.
I definitely think down in Miami, I think the push was a lot of people were wondering, is this going to be Messi's last time playing for Argentina? There was that talk whether or not this would be his last time. So,
It was all the Colombia fans, though.
Colombia, yeah.
Going into the vents.
It was, that was a wild picture, but, hopefully this gives them an opportunity. I know there was also even the fans that fought players in the stands over in Charlotte at Bank of America. So, it happens. You don't want to see it.
It happens with any sport, not just, I think it's just because all eyes were on Copa America that they were like looking for it, right?
Yeah. And they'll figure it out.
I've seen football fans fight in the stands before.
Right. Yeah.
Baseball
you always
fans,
want to try to prevent it.
You're a New York fan. You see New York fans fight all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So it happens.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see with the World Cup.
I know somebody got sucker punched in a parking garage just leaving the Boston Yankees games, man. Go. You gotta have your head on a swivel.
You do, you truly do. I have a little fun game. We're heading into segment 2 of today's podcast. With the Olympics coming up, Dave, what's the official countdown now?
9 days.
9 days until the Olympics. I thought that these two men.
7 by the time you're.
Oh yeah, I guess 7 by Friday when this comes out.
So a week from Friday.
A week from the time this podcast comes out, we will be watching the Olympics. And since we just spent the entire podcast talking about South Carolina athletes, I thought I would quiz you guys on some South Carolina Olympic athletes.
Bring it on.
I have 5 players.
Week 2, and she's trying to make us look bad already.
You know what? I'm trying to make myself look good.
She's in a fantasy baseball league that she didn't even draft.
That auto draft.
So we're fine.
Hey, you know what? Growth. I'll learn I'll learn from here. But I got 5 players, okay?
Okay.
They are current and past.
Players. Did she just tip her hand? They're all players?
Well, I'm not going to give you a team.
Was that a hint?
No, that was not a hint. Okay, we've got 5 players. I hope no peeking. I'm going to give you the first one. I'll give you some fun facts, and you tell me who they are.
All right.
I'll start easy.
Babe Ruth.
You have to wait. They're all from South Carolina, either born or raised in South Carolina. All right, here we go. Born May 19th, 1976. He played 21 seasons in the NBA.
She said he. She said NBA.
Yeah, that doesn't help. He was a part of the U.S. men's team that won the gold medal in the 2000 Summer Olympics.
Sorry, did you say born in 76 or played in 76?
Born in 76.
Okay.
So he was on the 2000 Summer Olympics team that won gold with the U.S. national team. He's considered one of the greatest power forwards of all time.
Oh, I already know this.
And his nickname is the Big Ticket.
Oh, you didn't even have to go. I already knew it was Kevin Garnett right off the bat.
Garnett. I was going to say, I think Garnett's
From South Carolina. Yeah.
He is from Greenville, South Carolina, for anyone listening. You're right, Kevin Garnett. I'm going easy. That was
You got to give us the chance to get in there before you start giving the big hint away.
Okay, I'll go one at I'll go one at a time.
I probably could have got it after the first one. Once I
thought, okay.
All right, they're only getting harder from here, guys.
Okay.
Okay. Born August 8th, 1996. She played basketball for South Carolina. She won the NCAA championship with the Gamecocks in 2017.
Oh, so South Carolina person still?
Yeah. No, I lied. She's from South Carolina, played for South Carolina, no longer plays.
Yeah, so we got it.
Who is it, Dave?
Asia Wilson.
It's Asia Wilson. I will continue to say
The only
that,
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Hopkins, South Carolina, according to NBC. She will lead this year's basketball team in the Paris Olympics.
Cool.
So she'll be playing in the Olympics. You didn't even let me get to the Olympic clue of it all. All right, next one. Born July 8th, 1992. She has a birthday with me. Very happy about it. We are talking about track and field pole vaulting. She holds the American pole vault record.
Also not Melissa Jefferson?
She holds the American pole vault record, one of America's most highly recruited female pole vaulters. She won silver in the 2016 Summer Olympics. Inducted in
good pole vaulters?
I don't think I've ever seen a pole vaulting.
She was inducted into the Greenville County, South Carolina Schools Hall of Fame in 2021. She did not qualify for the Summer Olympics this year.
Initials.
SM.
I'm passing, man. I could
Raised in Greenville, South Carolina as well.
I couldn't name a single pole vaulter, even if my life depended on it.
I just ran the story on Anna Hall last night, but she's in the pentathlon or heptathlon. That's not even just pole vaulting.
The answer we're looking for is Sandy Morris.
Ah, yes.
Sandy Morris. She holds a pole vault record from 2016.
Good for you.
Totally. I tried to tell
Congratulations.
All right, we got two more. I feel
Do they get harder or easier? Do they get harder?
feel like they're getting harder. I was like,
one easy one, okay?
Oh, God.
I'll start with the hard one. Born January 12th, 1944.
Wait, what? 44?
Yes. Olympic heavyweight champion in 1964. We're talking boxing.
Okay.
Born in Beaufort, South Carolina. Beaufort or Beaufort?
Buford.
Beaufort, because I know the other one, North Carolina, is Beaufort. Anyways.
So before Tyson.
World heavyweight champion from 1970 to 1973.
Clyde the Glide.
Fought Muhammad Ali for the heavyweight title 3 times. His most memorable fight was at Madison Square Garden, March 71, where he defeated Ali to become the undisputed heavyweight champion.
People watching are probably screaming at their TVs right now. Where's Joe Rogan when we need him?
Where's Joe Rogan? Hey, you're halfway there.
Do you know it?
Initials JF.
Who fought Ali? Frazier.
What's his first name?
Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier. That's the answer. I'm actually really impressed that you guys got that one. Because as soon as I said 1944, he goes, huh? All right, this one's easy.
I'm just trying to get a timeline on people.
I know, sorry. Okay, this one's easy. Won gold in 2022 and 2023 in the World Championship 100-meter relay, the 4x100 meter relay. Ran track and field for Coastal Carolina and earned a spot in this year's 2024 Paris Olympics.
You know this.
Melissa Jefferson.
Melissa Jefferson. Side note, fun fact. When I was looking up, trying to find fun facts about Melissa Jefferson that weren't super obvious, did you know that Melissa Jefferson is also the legal name of Lizzo?
Wow.
Lizzo's legal name is Melissa Jefferson. So when you type in her name, you can go to the Melissa Jefferson page, but it's like, did you mean Lizzo? I'm like, no, I didn't, but thank you.
Not going to get that type of sports content on any other podcast.
It was just a fun fact.
Who's Lizard?
Who's Lizard? For anybody who's listening and wants to watch Melissa Jefferson, the women's 100-meter competition takes place August 1st, or August 2nd and 3rd. So you can check her out then.
Right here on WMBF.
Right here on WMBF News. But yeah, I think you guys, what was that record? You got Joe, you got Asia.
I'm actually kind of mad how long it took me to say Frazier when she said the Ali fights.
Yeah, well,
See, but the thing I always think of when
I
I hear
didn't-
that, you down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier. Like, you don't need
well, he played him 3 times, or he fought him 3 times
him.
and won once. So it makes
Yeah.
sense he went down a couple times.
Yeah, no.
I wanted to say Clyde Drexler, but I don't think.
That's a basketball player.
Who am I?
Good Lord.
You know,
man.
if you guys
Stop
had
while
given me
we're
these,
ahead.
I wouldn't have gotten them.
Yeah. well,
I wouldn't have. So 4 out of 5, I say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 out of 5. That's a passing score.
Thanks. We did all right.
Way to go. Congratulations.
I forgot the pole vaulter's name already.
Sandy Morris, sorry. Sorry we couldn't remember you, but now we will, forever. But that's it, guys. That's all we got today. Make sure, if you're listening or you're watching, wherever you're doing, subscribe. You can catch us on anywhere you catch your podcasts, plus on YouTube. This episode comes out Friday. I think we've decided now on a schedule of coming out every other week. So you'll catch us August.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, August 2nd, I believe that's the date. Yeah, thanks for joining us for episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys got any comments or anything, drop them down in the YouTube comment section, or you could even email us. I'm sure you can find us on WMBFnews.com. And like I said, all the links from today's stories that we mentioned will be in the description of this episode. See you next time.